Hi, everyone. Good morning in America and good evening in Africa. It's about 9:32 right now. So my name is James Mwangamba. I am in Tanzania, the president of the African chapters of the African Trade Network. Well, so about 5 years ago, I wrote a book titled Breakthrough: How to Succeed Financially in Economically Challenging Times. And the underlying message, or the major message of the book, was how to make business work, especially in Africa. That was the intention. And in that book, I spoke quite about a number of things. I even pointed out some of the opportunities that could be captured by the people that live on the African continent. And so being given an opportunity to share this in the Entrepreneurship Academy, it'll be a great joy for me to share some of the content that I put in the book, developments and the new learnings that have occurred in my life over a few years. So here are some of the things that I'll be sharing on the Entrepreneurs Academy. One, we'll be looking at some of the opportunities in different African countries. I think once again, it's okay for me to mention that Africa is not one country. Africa comprises, or Africa bears 54 different economies. So it'll be a great joy to sort of almost do a SWOT analysis of each and every country, to kind of see what opportunities, what strengths are there in each country, what opportunities, what weaknesses, and what threats, if you ever find yourself doing business in those countries. So we're going to look at all the broader perspective of Africa, from Angola to Algeria, Burundi, Cameroon. We're going to go to the West Coast, to West Africa. Well, West Coast, that's in America. To West Africa, we'll look at Nigeria and Ghana and Togo and all those countries. We're going to come down to East Africa, look at all these 6 East African countries, go down to the southern part of Africa. It's going to be so much fun. 2, we will look at how do you get started in Africa. It is true indeed that Africa presents very dynamic and really unique challenges of doing business. A number of the ease of doing business reports have shown that many of the African countries are basically on top of the list. In other words, it's usually at the bottom of the list. In other words, it's really very difficult to get started and build a successful business in Africa. One of our members was here in Africa, I think a couple of weeks ago. Tiffany is her name. She's now in the US. She could share, if she shared with us here, she will be able to share with us all the challenges that she has had to meet along the way. But one of my thoughts about it is that, what if she contacted an expert in Africa before coming down? And even after coming down here in Africa, what if she worked closely with someone who is doing businesses around here and has a broader experience and understanding of the African continent? I suppose many of the challenges that she has undergone would probably be avoided if she had taken that route. So we're going to be talking about how to get started and how to grow a company or a business from this part of the world. 3, we will look at what support are available. If you want to do business in Gambia, what support mechanisms are already in place to help you get started and do business successfully in South Africa, in Central Africa, and so on and so forth. Thirdly, what languages are spoken? Now, I'm not saying we're going to be teaching languages here on the program, but I think it sure won't hurt if we will look at some major keywords, greetings. Like if you find yourself in Nigeria, and you want to order a drink, what do you say about that? Maybe you say, I need, shayo. Or if you want to, you're in East Africa and you want to maybe say, good morning, good evening, how do you greet people? So we're going to be looking at some of those key phrases and words and basics of some of the key African languages. And also, we will look at some, in some instances, we're going to be looking at brief histories of some of the African nations. And because this sometimes gives you a proper understanding about where a country is, if you really get to understand where it came from. Another interesting topic that will be featured, I try to share this, I think, at the beginning of these programs when we started around March, April. How do billionaires get to be made doing business in Africa? This is an area that I've done a lot of researches and studies on, and it would be a great joy to share with us all here, how billionaires get to be made doing business in Africa. It's interesting that in each and every African country, there is the wealthiest person in that country. So I really look forward to trying to dig into these wealthiest people in many of the different countries. Now, I'm not saying that all of us are supposed to be the wealthiest people doing business on the continent, but I'm saying we always have a lot to learn from the most successful entrepreneurs of different countries, especially if you're intending to move into those countries. I mean, like, what hoops did these people have to jump over, or what obstacles did they have to overcome to be able to do what they have been able to do? So those and many other topics that will be emerging as we go along are some of the things that I can't wait to share with you as you do join me on the sessions. So yeah, so that's it for now, and thanks for listening.